Hello and welcome back to my channel. It's Ijoma here, and in today's video we're going to learn how to make this halter neck dress. This dress is not padded, and if you're making this dress you should buy a thick fabric. In this case I used Mikado, so this is the Mikado fabric that I have. But if you don't want to use Mikado, you can go for a thick crepe, a very thick crepe. Then you can add interface to it. Now you are also going to use bone in this particular process. We're going to use bone for this dress. Now I have 2.5 yards of this Duchess. Sorry, I have 2 yards of this Mikado here, and I did not finish the 2 yards because I am between size 8 and size 10. Now, the first thing that we are going to do is to draft our skirt, and after drafting the skirt, we'll draft the top, and then we'll start cutting. So this is the paper that we are using, and the first thing that we are going to do is to take out the half length from this paper. If we take out our half length, we can now mark our full length and the rest. I want to use paper so that the markings will be clear. One thing about this dress is that it is not fitted. So if you are marking your measurements, you should add extra measurements for ease. Now I've gotten my hip line and my full length. The full length of this dress, I made it 35 inches, and I'll label my waistline, my hip line, and the full length. You can see that I am done labeling all these lines. So now I'll take my waist measurement. My waist measurement is the only fitted measurement here. My waist is 30 divided by 4. Then at my hip is 42 divided by 4. And I'll go ahead and add extra 2 inches to it. Then you can give it an A-line shape at the full length, or you can make it straight. But I do not want my own to have that A-line full length. I even want it to give me a little curve at the full length. So from my waist I'll connect to my hip, and then at the full length of that gown I came in by 1 inch from what I marked from my hip and connected. But if you want to take it straight down, fine. If you want to give it the A-line cut, if you want it to have an A-line shape at the full length, fine. But I will only suggest making it straight cut or coming in by 1 inch at the full length so that it will have a little curve. So this paper that I cut out now is what I will use to cut out both my front and my back. So now that I am done, I'll start drafting my front. I'll start drafting my front bustier, like the upper part. Now we are going to mark our bust points, our chest line. My bust point is 10, so 2 inches above it is 8, and that is chest line and my half length. Now after marking these lines, I will also label. Now I will mark out what will be enough, the paper that will be enough for me to draft my front, and I'll go ahead and connect a straight line. So now that we are done, we are going to connect all our lines. Now if you are making your dress, you should measure your front half length separately and your back half length separately. So my front half length is 17, my back half length is 16 inches, and I'll go ahead and connect all these lines. So after connecting these lines, what I am going to do is that I will label my lines. So this is my chest line, my bust point, and my half length. So the chest line will remain the same both at the front and the back. So I'll extend my chest line. Then at the half length, I said that my back half length is 16. So I'll go ahead and measure my back half length, and that is 16. And I will mark my 16 inches. So you can see that the back half length is 1 inch shorter than my front half length. So what it means is that at the side, I will take 1 inch at my side dart so that the two of them will measure up when I am joining. Now that we are done, we'll mark our neckline. So the shoulder is the first thing that we'll mark here so that it will guide us. Though this dress does not have a shoulder, but we'll mark a shoulder so that it will guide us when taking our measurements. I'll find the midpoint of my armhole, this line that I'm connected to my chest line. This is the midline. I will come in by 1/2 inch, and I will connect it down to the chest line. So after doing that, I will also mark 3 by 3 for our neckline, the normal 3 by 3 round neck. Yes, you mark it first of all. So I'll go ahead and mark 3 inches, and then I'll come down by 3 inches. After doing that, I will connect my neckline, and I'll also come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. But if you want, just leave it because you don't need that shoulder slope. Now I'll mark my dart line. My nipple to nipple is 8 divided by 2, that is 4, and I marked 4 inches. I'll connect it to my bust point, and I will take 1/2 inch on both sides of that dart line, and I'll connect to my bust point. Now, if we are making this particular neckline, halter neckline is suitable for princess that is suitable for halter necklines. So what I'm going to do right now is to connect my princess dart from my bust point. I connected to my armhole, and that is my princess dart. Then I'll come down by 1.5 from that my armhole, and I will reconnect. I'll come down by 1.5 from my armhole and I'll reconnect. Then I'll also extend the line. Now, after extending the line, I will reconnect the armhole. So now that I am done, I will shade the areas that I will cut out. So I have taken my armhole dart and I've taken my underbust dart as well. So right now, what I'm going to do is to take my bust measurement divided by 4, my waist measurement divided by 4, plus the 1 inch for my dart allowance. You know that I added that, so I'll add 1 inch for my dart allowance. Now that I am done, I'll connect the lines. At the side, I'll also take my side darts. Okay, so when it comes to taking these side darts, I'll come down by 1 inch from my bust point and I will connect, and that is my side darts. Okay, now that I am done, I'll go ahead and cut out. So after cutting the front out, I will close this side dart. After closing side dart, I will also close my armhole dart. So you can watch me as I do all that. First of all, I will close my side dart and then I will close my armhole dart. So this is the side dart. I will cut it open and I will close it first of all. After closing the side dart, so this is the side dart. I am done closing the side dart. So after closing the side dart, I'll also close my armhole dart. Okay, so now that I am done closing my armhole dart, I will come in by 1.5 from the center of my paper, and that is the width of the halter. Like the width of the halter is just 3 inches, so it is 1.5 from fold. I'll connect it to my armhole. So you are now free to mark the type of halter you want. So my own is just 3 inches wide if you open it. So on fold, it is 1.5, and that is why I measured 1.5 from the center of that my paper, and I will connect it to my neckline. So this is what I have. Okay, and I'll go ahead and cut out. Now this is our halter. You can see our armhole has an opening. By the time I am done joining, it will not be gaping or gapping at the armhole, like people always say, gapping at the armhole or gaping at the armhole. Now this is my chest line, and I'll cut off my half length. So now this back does not have any rope or anything, does not have anything at the back. Though if you want your halter to be at the back too, that is fine, but my own will be straight at the back. So now I'll measure out my zipper allowance. First of all, this halter is the type of halter that will be straight at the back, like it does not have any halter at the center back. But if you want your back to also have that halter neckline, fine, but the back will just be straight, more like an off shoulder back neckline. Okay, so right now I have taken out 1 inch for my zipper intake, and I'll mark my dart. But if you want to sew this back without that, fine, you can sew it without your back dart, and I will even recommend that. So now I have gotten my 4 inches for that, and I'll take out half inch for my dart. Now after doing that, I'll mark my waist divided by 4 plus my 1 inch for that, and I'll also mark my bust divided by 4, and then I will connect. So after marking this, I'll start cutting on my fabric. So these clothes you have a lining. Sewing into the lining will give you a perfect finish. Okay, now if you want to cut out your turtleneck at this point, you can cut out your turtleneck at this point also. So for the turtleneck, like the one that will go around your neck, what you're going to do is that you will measure your round neck. If you're making it for a client, you will measure your client's round neck. So these are the paper that I have. So now this is my fabric, my Mikado, and I'll start cutting my skirt pieces. After skirt pieces, I will cut the top. So now I am done cutting the major pieces. The next thing that I will do now is to cut out my turtleneck. So fold your fabric in a triangular manner. You can see how I folded my fabric, right? So after folding your fabric this way, you are going to measure your round neck. So I've measured my round neck and I have 16 inches, but I want to make it 18 inches so that I'll have excess allowance for the button. So now I'll start coming down by 12 inches. I hope you can see what I'm marking. From the triangular point of that fold, I will start coming down by 12 inches. And after marking my 12 inches, I will connect the lines. Then from this line that I marked, now I'll make sure that it is up to 18 inches. Okay, yeah, so if you measured 16 or 17, make sure that you have up to that on that fold. Then from there, you start coming upwards. This is so that your turtleneck will fit very well. So this upwards I'm coming by now, I want the width of the turtleneck to be 2.5 plus extra half inch for stitching it. Okay, so you add your seam allowance, half an inch for stitching the top of the turtleneck and half an inch for joining it to the main gown. Now, after doing that, I will also notch the center of this turtleneck. So if I open it up, it is nice. I'll go ahead and notch the center. After notching the center of the turtleneck, I will also go in by 1.5. Remember that when I was marking my halter on my fabric, on my paper, sorry, I went in by 1.5 from the center of my paper. Yes, because the width of the halter is 3 inches. So you mark out that 3 inches so that when you are joining it to this turtleneck, it will fit. So this is 3 inches. I've notched my 1.5. Now I'll also cut out another fabric for it, and I'm cutting it on my main fabric. You can use lining to turn it, but no, I am cutting my own on my main fabric. So now after cutting that out, I will also notch the points and I will add interface to it. So now I'll go ahead and cut out my lining and we will start turning. All right, so that is it for now. I also go ahead and cut out the rope that we use for the bow at the side of the neckline. You know, the turtleneck has a little bow on it, so I will just cut out a 1.5 inch fabric, a long piece. I will turn it. Yes, I'll pipe it and I will use it for my bow. Now, after cutting all that, we'll start cutting on our line. Like I said, this will have a lining. I'm adding interface to all the pieces of my lining. So I'll cut out the lining of the skirt, and after that, I'll cut out the lining of the top. So now I am done, and I added interface to only one part of this turtleneck, and I'll go ahead and turn the neckline. I'll turn the side and also the other side, except these places that I notched. I will not turn these places that I notched. So right now, I will also go ahead and shape my lining separately and shape my main fabric separately. So this is my lining pieces, and these are my lining pieces, and I added interface to all of them. I'll go ahead and shape all of them. After shaping them, I'll also shape my main fabric separately. So this is my main fabric, the main fabric of the skirt. I did not add interface to it. This fabric is already strong. I'll go ahead and turn them separately, like I'll shape them separately. You will see the reason why I am shaping the lining and the skirt separately. It will be an easy finishing, and then I'll add bones to my skirt so that it will stand very well. Now these are the pieces of the top, and I'm arranging them according to how I am going to join them. I'll arrange the lining and I'll also arrange the main fabric. So these are the back pieces, and I'm arranging them. All these areas that I notched are the dart areas, like the dart lines, so that when I'm joining, I will know where to follow up. So I'll pin the main fabric together, and I'll also arrange my lining according to how I am going to join my lining. You know, I opened up my darts at the back, so I'll pin all of them and I'll go ahead and join. Now we are done with that. These ones are the front pieces. Yes, these are the front pieces, and I'll go ahead and arrange them according to how I will join them. I'll arrange the front, the main fabric, and the lining also. So this top will also have an inseam finishing. After joining all this, I will shape my lining separately and my main fabric separately. So this is my main fabric. I'll also go ahead and join. So now I am done. This is my rope. I am done turning my rope. These are the skirt pieces, and you can see that I opened up all my allowance and I ironed, right? So after ironing all of them, I will open up the lining of the skirt and I will start running my bones. I will not run much bones. I will just run like 2, 3 at the front, and I will sew some at the sides and then another 2 at the back. So right now, what I'm going to do is to trim my lining so that I'll make sure that it is all of them are equal. Then after doing that, this is the skirt. I'm not touching the main fabric of this skirt. No, I will not add anything to the main fabric of the skirt. I will just keep it aside. The place that I will add my bone is on my lining. So I will keep the main fabric aside and I will get my bones, and then I'll show you guys how to attach these bones. Okay, just vertical lines, right? So this is the turtleneck, and I'll go ahead and trim. I'm trimming down the allowance. After trimming down the allowance, I'll also turn it over. You can see that I did not close those notched areas. Those areas that I notched, I did not close them. I'll go ahead and turn this turtleneck over from this particular point. So right now I am done, and I'll go ahead and give it a nice press, right? I'll give this particular one a nice press. Now after ironing it, I will also keep it aside. Now back to my lining, I'll get my bones and I'll show you guys how I'm going to run these bones on the lining. So I'll run at the side seams. Number one, I will run 3 at the center front, and if you want you can run a vertical line, but I will not run a horizontal line. So you can see I added 3 at the center front, 2 at the back and on the sides, especially around the sides. I added to the seam, like the seam of this skirt. So now that I am done, I will get my main fabric and I'll go ahead and pin all of them together. I will turn them at the hemline. After turning the hemline, you will top stitch and also turn the zip allowance area, because the zip allowance area is the only free area on this skirt, right? So you go ahead and close your zipper allowance area too, then turn it and iron. You will turn from the waistline and iron. So these ones are the back pieces, at the front pieces, the top, and I am done joining the princess dart area. So now I'll go ahead and join main fabric to main fabric, lining to lining, main fabric to main fabric, and lining to lining. Okay, so I'll go ahead and take my bust measurement and I'll shape. I'll also take my waist measurement and shape on the fabric separately and on the lining separately. So whatever I do on my fabric, I'll repeat the same thing on my lining. Okay, so now this is the lining of the back. I'll trim it and I'll also go ahead and pin the lining together. So after shaping all of them, I'll place them together and I will turn the neckline. Like I will start from the side of this halter and I will sew to the neckline. I'll also sew the other side, just the neckline and top stitch, and I'll also close the zipper allowance area. So you will leave the round neck of that halter. So now this is my turtleneck and I'm done ironing. Yes, I am done ironing. What I'm going to do right now is to turn. You can see what it looks like. It looks really good. Now this is the skirt. I'm done at turning and you can see my boning lines. They are really neat. And this is the skirt. The skirt is firm. Like if you wear it on your body, it will be really firm. Now I am done turning the top. You can see it has an instant finishing right now. So what I'm going to do is that I will trim the half length of it. I'll just go ahead and trim my half length, and after trimming my half length, I will join my neckline. So right now, I'll measure out my half length, and after measuring out the half length, you will trim it off. Make sure that your half length is accurate. Now, after trimming the half length, I'll get the turtleneck and fix. And you know that I did not turn the whole part of that turtleneck. So from the center back of this, I'll also trim it by like 1 inch so that I will not have any zipper bulge. Now, I will get my turtleneck and I'll attach it to my neckline. You can see that I did not turn that round area. I'll go ahead and insert this and then I will stitch on it. So after stitching, that is it, pin it very well and then go ahead and stitch. After stitching it, I will also add my skirt area and then my zipper. Now after sewing the skirt area, the half length area, you will get your bow tie and then you will tie it. You just make a bow, just one tie, and you will pin it at the left hand side of your neckline and you will tack. You can pin to the right or to the left, anywhere that you want it. After doing that, you will tack it down. Yes, you don't have to stitch, just tack it down so that to have a clean finish. Now we are done and it is remaining only the zipper allowance side. I'll go ahead and close my zipper allowance. Please remember to weave your half length. I'll go ahead and close my zipper allowance and I'll also add my zipper, and that is it for today's tutorial. Thank you all so much. I hope the dress is beautiful and see you all in my next video. Our registration for online classes is ongoing. If you want to register, just drop a comment and I will direct you on how to register.